I've been drafting Trey Harris everywhere. I've got him on my dynasty team, drafted on my unlimited keeper team. Every draft that I've done, I've got Trey Harris in it. In best ball, I have deep bags. I've been drafting him ahead of his ADP all off season, both on DraftKings, Underdog, everywhere. Just a ton of Trey Harris here, and yes, I am a little bit nervous. Yesterday, cornerback on the Chargers was asked about Trey Harris. He said, yeah, he's got all the tools, but you really got to look out for Keandre Lambert-Smith. Keandre Lambert-Smith then showed out in the Hall of Fame game. But more concerning today, we just got news about 5 minutes ago. Keenan Allen is visiting the Chargers. Not unexpected. We all kind of thought maybe Keenan Allen was going to visit the Chargers at some point, but it seems to make sense that Keenan Allen could end up there. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about my Trey Harris bags. We're going to get in here. We're going to do a couple DraftKings drafts. I have a few slow drafts that I'm on the clock right now. So we're going to start. I'm going to make my slow draft picks before we get into a couple. We're going to do $20 best ball Millie Maker drafts, the $20, $15 million prize pool contest on DraftKings. We're going to do a couple of those. They still do have the draft one, get one promo going on. That was not just a best ball week thing. That will be going on through September. So if for some reason you have not taken advantage, you can find the link in the description of this video for that promo. I'm not going to run the ad right now. I'll run it maybe between the two drafts. But let's get in. Let's make a couple. Got to move my banner around 1 second here. There we go. That looks good. All right, let's make a couple slow draft picks before we get in here. Good to see you guys all here. What's going on? Hartman, Losimo, Emwald, Andrew, love to see you all. Rabona, what's going on? Yeah, I'll tell you right when I'm about to start, Andrew. It'll be just a couple minutes. Let me just make these picks real quick so I don't leave all these people waiting. All right, who do I got? I got Joe Burrow, a couple of running backs. Jaylen Warren, it sounds like Caleb Johnson's struggling in pass protection, which does seem positive for Jaylen Warren. I assume Jordan Mason is my guy, but he appears to be gone. Yeah, I'll do Jaylen Warren here on DraftKings. Full PPR, why not? Probably going to get a good number of passes his way. All right. Ooh, I queued up in this one. Facial Tootin and Tank Bigsby. I've got Fields and Drake May. I think I'm good with those two quarterbacks and waiting on a third quarterback. So I'm going to forego these suggestions. I'll go with Tootin once again. I'm intrigued by Tank Bigsby at this point. Should I flip it? Should I just do Tank Bigsby? I have so much Tootin already. Nah, this is full PPR. I'm going Tootin again. Could be a huge mistake. I'll acknowledge that. All right. 3 more before we get into fast draft. I got Josh Allen. I do love Pop Douglas here. I have not drafted like any Xavier Lee yet. I do think that I should probably start mixing him a little bit. He was not great last year, but could make a year 2 leap. But I am more confident in Pop Douglas. So I'm going to make that selection here. All right, 2 more. Tempted by just going Kenneth Walker here. Oh, I could go Jalen Hurts. He's probably not making it back to me. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that. Jalen Hurts. Because there's a lot of wide receivers I like in this range. $69. Nice. All right. I've got Saquon, Josh Jacobs, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, and Trey McBride on this one. Juwan Jennings falling a little bit. I think I'm going to let him keep falling. I'm just going to take Diggs here. All right. That'll do it. Let's get in. Yeah, lots of competition for the Carolina wide receivers is true. Good to see you, Steve. I still do take Godwin, mostly because of this guy. It's Shady's fault. What's up, Shady? They are still pretty in on Godwin. They're buying the dip a little bit, it seems, if you use the sidekick, and I'm trusting them on that. I don't take him every time that he's suggested, but I think probably buying the dip. Sometimes he'll be suggested, I'll pass on him, and then he'll still be there. So I'm buying the dip a bit on Godwin. Yeah, Tootin, probably my highest owned running back across all contests as well. All right, I am going to get into it now. So we're going $15 millionaire, $20 contest, entering now. Checking my location. All right, we're in. 3 out of 12, so need 9 more for this one. Was reading through the Coach Peak Index today, and I think I'm not high enough on Chase Brown. That's one of my latest thoughts. Is they really believe in Chase Brown. They think he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. The offensive coordinator said he thinks he's going to be a household name by the end of the year. It does not sound like there is any risk to Chase Brown's workload as long as he's healthy. They cut Zach Moss. Tosh Brooks is fun, but I think he's mostly contingent play. Love it. Shady's going to draft with us. Shady, if you're listening, Rabona wants to know when your next show is with Corain and Zach. Well, I can tell you Shady is going to be right here on this channel next Wednesday. He's not going to start at, I usually start at 3 Eastern. He's going to be coming on at 4 Eastern unless things change. I guess we'll have to check in again. That's from a conversation a couple weeks ago. But I think I'll probably start at 3 Eastern and then have Shady join me. Oh, look at that. Shady gets the 101. Shady, new Avi there. I like it. Digging it. Where am I? All right, let's see. Draft board. I'm in the 1.10. Steve's in here with us. Fact74 is in here. Fantasy Guru Drew stealthily joins. Andrew Black's there. I feel like I might know Mark. I don't know, dude. And anybody else in here that I know? Oh, there's Billy. All right, let's see here. Best Ball on Call. Appreciate it. Yeah, Best Ball on Call says firewall at work, but I'll listen and hit the like. Appreciate that. And if anybody else can, that's a good reminder. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you can hit the little, if you want to get notifications every time I go live, you can hit the little notification bell. Going to be going live a lot more for the rest of the month. And then, of course, DFS starting in a month. Shady making the rounds. All right, Davis on Monday and then with me on Wednesday. Nice. All right, who do you think Shady's going to go with at the 101? I've got a guess. Does Bengals' #1 toughest strength schedule for running back intimidate at all? Yeah, that's a factor. I don't love it, but if he's going to get all the work, I think he's going to do well anyway. Look at that, Jamar Chase, 101. It's crazy. You got the sharpest guy I know at the 101 and then the dumbest guy at the 112. I can't help myself. I need to throw shade at Drew like whenever possible. He does the same to me though, to be fair. Yes, that is Drew at the 12. What's up, Drew? Andrew, yeah, I'm doing Flannel Up and Showdown again this year. I think I'll be doing multiple shows again. So I'll be doing the live before lock shows Monday, Thursday, Sunday. We don't call it live before lock. People get mad. We call it Flannel Up and Showdown. And then likely we'll be doing morning/afternoon shows on Monday and Thursday as well. But still working out the details there. Ashton Genty goes a little early. All right, I think we avoided a serious injury from Malik Neighbors based on coach speak. So I'll do it. Yeah, Bengals. Drew says worst ranked offensive line and also toughest strength schedule. Okay, I hear you. But they also they talk about using him in the passing game quite a bit. Rubona says, man, I've been waiting for a Debro, Drew, Justin Steele, also late night show. Make it happen. Yeah, we definitely need to make that happen. We've talked about it some. Oh, thank you for Shady says you've got the window set up today, so the DraftKings pauses when you tab. All right, yeah. I need to really clutch suggestion from Candyman yesterday is that if you just don't have this one on full screen, or I can't have. Sorry, I need to do the other one not on full screen. All right, give me 1 second. I will fix it. Thank you, Shady, for pointing that out. All right, I was obviously hoping for Amon-Ra to fall there because it would have been unique to get Amon-Ra and Malik Neighbors. Now it is Brock Bowers. Is a suggestion. I'm just going to do it. I love Brock Bowers on DraftKings. I'm tempted by some of these running backs. Achane in particular. I do think I need to draft some Henry. Because, yeah, if he stays healthy, he's probably going to be good. All right, let me see. I just have to expand this so it's not full screen, but close. All right, we're good. We're good now. My man. Vic says he hit the like on X and on here. Appreciate it. So I'll move this up here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Emil says I have 0% Henry in best ball, but we'll take him in eliminators and weekly winners. I do think I like him a lot better in eliminators and weekly winners. But I also I'm nervous about him more so on underdog than DraftKings. Like it's still full PPR. Obviously hurts Henry quite a bit. So I'm a little bit less nervous about the fade on DraftKings, but I think I need to work him in, just get that 4% exposure blanket because he could just crush. Yeah, I'm happy with the start. Drew says if there was a dislike button, I'd hit that too, Neil. Instead, I reported. All right, that's fair. What's up, Candyman? Was just crediting you for giving me the advice of not being full screen in both my windows. Much smoother operation now when you can just watch the clock run down. I don't have to go back and forth to talk and see where I'm at in the draft. It's great. Appreciate it. Candyman, I also saw, so Candyman did a sprint draft on his channel late last night, and I joined for one, and then he did a second one, and I decided to back out. It was super late. I was like, I want to watch a TV show and go to bed. So I didn't join, and they got up to 10, and I was like, all right, they're getting really quickly got up to 10 in the sprint, and then I went back 20 minutes later and saw that it did not fill. So sorry about that. I would have stuck around and done another one if I thought you needed me. I thought for sure it was going to fill though. Hampton at 28, Allen at 29. Days of getting Hampton to fall to me at 34 appear to be over. Lamar. Those are the three that I really wanted there, but I'll make do. All right, Marvin Harrison, I guess. All right. It really is. Like drafting early on, I loved the end of the draft board. Now I really think I like the 6 spot the best by far. Just like you get one of the top tier in the 6 spot, you get the next tier coming back, a player that you really like in the 2nd round, and then in the 3rd round, and then you can see Steve-O did. I mean, look at this start for Steve-O. Steve Shout gets Justin Jefferson, Lad McConkey, Lamar Jackson. Love that start. All right, we're back on the clock. I think Brees went. Xavier Worthy. I don't have James Cook here either. I don't have a running back yet. I'll give Steve the possibility of falling back to him. I know that he wants James Cook, and I'm not mad at Xavier Worthy. I've been drafting a little bit more James Cook after talking with Steve and Mathology. I think he's a good click. But there are other formats I like him a little bit better, I think. There you go. Your dream start for Steve, I'm sure. What's going on, No Cap Mac? Thanks for joining. Yeah, Nick says, I feel like 10 through 12 is a tough spot after round 3. Agreed. Yep, agree with this. Steve says, I was hoping for Hampton as well, but when he was gone, taking Lamar, agree with that. Love the elite quarterbacks if I can't get Hampton there. There is a way to get J-Mo, Pickens, and Sutton together. You just have to reach for one of them. But you do have to reach. That was, if you watched Sacrilegious, Pete did a Deposit Kingdom video where that was one of the suggestions. Like sometimes you just need to reach if you want a combo of players and they're not going where you need them to go, and none of them ever fall. Like sometimes just reaching for the combo you want might make some sense. But I know what you mean. You don't get them like at ADP. Yeah, I feel good. I feel good about where they're there, I think. What's up, Brady? Yeah, plan really coming together for you, Steve. Nick says, do you think Noah Gray, Brashard, and Royals have a real chance to break out this year with Kelsey and Rice? Well, I mean, part of the thesis is that Rice might miss like maybe 6 games to start the year, which could give opportunities for Royals in particular. Brashard, I don't love that. The latest reporting is that Brashard is not moving up the depth chart right now. Like that, there's no real indication. It kind of seems like it is Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, and then Eli Mitchell behind them. So it kind of feels like he's buried on the depth chart right now. I've drafted a lot of Brashard Smith, so it is sort of a concern for me that it doesn't sound like he's really standing out, separating from the pack, earning a role there. Obviously, the hope is that he's just Jerick McKinnon. Chuba goes. Let's take a running back here. Anders says, are you giving up too much to do that if you reach to get the combos? So like, it does depend on the part of your draft and like the specific combo that you're talking about. They all go 4th, 5th round. So it's a little bit tough that early to be reaching to get your combos. I think like it makes more sense 7th round, 8th round, that kind of spot. But I think it depends on who's available at your pick. If you don't love anybody at your spot in the mid 3rd round, and if you can get the combo by reaching for JMO there, I'd say try it. Do it, a couple times maybe. All right, couple rookie running backs. This is a fun young team I've got so far. RJ Harvey, Trevion Henderson, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Xavier Worthy, and Brock Bowers. Not mad at it. Are drafts softer on DraftKings? I think so. I think they're softer in general. I also think it's just more chaotic. So I enjoy them more, I'll say that. And I think part of it is, I'd say yes, on average, they're softer on DraftKings. You are going to end up then facing a lot of super teams after round 1, but it's still better for you overall, I think, because you're going to advance more teams with some people just not drafting very well. So yeah, I would say softer. I prefer it. What do you say is the biggest strategy difference between DraftKings and Underdog? I know about the bonus and full PPR on DraftKings. I mean, those things make a pretty big difference in how I draft. It makes some of those 3rd down backs more valuable, I'd say, on DraftKings. So the pass catching backs become more valuable because guys like who's the perfect example here, Justice Hill, on Underdog still has some value, but on DraftKings in particular, it's he will, when he gets his catches, he gets them in bunches. It's when the game script dictates that they're using him instead of Derrick Henry. They're trying to catch up. They're in the 2-minute drill, whatever. So then he will separate, get maybe 7 catches in a game. I don't know what his actual range is there, but he'll bunch those catches together, which is really valuable in best ball. So he becomes pretty valuable on a site like DraftKings. Austin Eckler, another example there. A lot of those pass catching backs. I would say you need to look out for quarterback runs on DraftKings. What are some of the other? Because it is 20 rounds, you can do more. I've talked about doing more 0 RB on DraftKings, and I still don't do it all the time, but I do think it's easier to do 0 RB on DraftKings because you can take a couple guys who are going to, put up some points early on, but then you just have more darts to throw at those RB2s on various teams. So it is a little bit, I think, more valuable to do 0 RB and then just have 7 or 8 running backs who could become big hits as the season goes on. I'd say that's kind of one of the bigger strategy differences on DraftKings for me. I'm trying to think what else there is. Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger things. Who do you think has the easiest week 15 through 17? That is a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. I actually don't have all the week 15 through 17 schedules memorized, in part because I use the Sidekick. So I just trust that the RTA tool is going to know that. But yeah, that'd be worth looking at. I probably should know it better because I IKB it a little bit too much sometimes, I think. All right, we're at pick 82. Yeah, Matthew Golden seems good. What's up, Bink King? Good to see you. Yeah, also this. Emerald says, you're only giving up too much if you don't actually believe in your picks when you're reaching. Yeah, I'm liking the team, Neil. Yeah, more flexibility in general is definitely true. Oof. Over or under 204 fantasy points for Rashee Rice. That's 15.65 points per game, assuming 13 games. That's a good one. Probably have to take the under. But, I mean, he could be a massive hit. All right, this is where I IKB it just because I want to get ahead of the Jordan Mason's team. Maybe he's not moving up as much on DraftKings as he is elsewhere. But I'm a fan. I want to make sure my bags are sufficiently packed. So I'll take them where I can get them. Outside of the millie on DraftKings, is there a favorite draft on DraftKings that you enjoy and or want to see more of? I like I think it's called the Strong Side, the $59 contest. I feel like that's a good price point. I'd have to look closer at the constructions, the like the advancement structures, I mean. Thanks for joining the Discord, Mwald. Also, that's a good reminder. The Discord is free to join, by the way. If anybody wants to hang out and talk about best ball, there's a link in the description for the Flannelverse Discord. Really good group of people. Not the most active Discord in the world, but it's more active right now than it is like in May, and trying to grow it. So yeah, if you want to join a new Discord to talk about best ball, fantasy sports in general, entertainment, TV shows, free Discord to join. There are also channels that are only available to members, but those are just a couple right now, and very little discussion goes on in there. What's up, Bindles? When a player's stock is dipping, how do you gauge it relative to other players who are dipping as well? So you're talking about like Joe Mixon and Quinshad Judkins. I guess I kind of just try to project it myself. Like in that scenario, I'd be like I think Mixon has a higher ceiling and floor combo than Quinshad Judkins, so I'm still a lot more likely to take. He was going ahead of Judkins previously, and he still is. But I think right now I'm a pretty big stay away for Quinshad Judkins. Just I think the probability of a 0 or near 0 is higher, I think, than most do. Whereas Mixon, I don't love it. Like I think re-injuring his ankle that he's had issues with before, obviously a huge concern, but like the what do you win when you win with Mixon is pretty clearly really good, because we've seen him be elite as a fantasy player. So yeah, I don't know, it's tough when you're looking at multiple falling players. All right, Jordan Love is here, and I do have Golden. Sure. Yeah, that seems good. But yeah, I'm essentially just trying to mentally project them, or you don't even need to mentally project them. You can use the Legendary Upside rankings, the ETR rankings, the FanSpeak rankings. Like there are people putting in the work for you, trying to project what they look like in their new scenarios, project their range of outcomes. So I rely on other people's rankings quite a bit as well. See, now Ayuk is the top suggestion in the sidekick. He's been one that I frequently have been IKBing off of. I listened to again that Deposit Kingdom video with Sacrilegious, and he's saying like they're factoring in some missed time and a ramp up period. That's all factored in, and he's still a smash. So I'll stop IKBing all the time. Listen to the guys. Steve says he loves Tampa's week 15 to 17 schedule. Yeah, Overcat Fantasy says, for DraftKings, it can make good tight ends more appealing since they can actually get the 100-yard bonus, unlike the TD dependent tight ends. Exactly, the 100-yard bonus, but then also just like straight up PPR fantasy points. Like you're projecting Brock Bowers and Trey McBride for over 100 receptions, most likely, and upside for more. Like that just really separates. Just pure volume makes a big difference. Nice. Drew says he's working on a week 15 through 17 data thread. Brady says he tries to look at player prices like stocks. That's really helped out a lot. Overbought or oversold. Interesting. I'm not really active in the stock market. Maybe that would be helpful. Or maybe this would be helpful for stocks. What's up, Pepper Tony? Good to see you. Ooh, that's a good question. Overcat says, if you could create your own best ball tournament of your dreams, what would the scoring system look like? Oh, love that. All right, what would the scoring system look like? I think I like full PPR. So this is hard for me because I'm just like probably pretty standard because that's what I'm used to. Like I don't want to have to learn a whole new scoring system. Now there is also the alternative of like I do typically like new structures because people play them wrong. So maybe ultimately it would be different, and just hope that people play it totally wrong, like just touchdowns. That could be fun to do a just touch. I think they actually DraftKings has formats like that. Maybe not best ball, but like DFS formats like that. So yeah, I'm of two minds here because on the one hand, I kind of like just playing what I know, but on the other hand, typically I get most excited for new formats because I think people often play new formats wrong. That's where you find your biggest edge, like by far in those new formats. Ultimately, I think I like the DraftKings scoring. I might get rid of the bonuses just because it ends up being a bit too much. But maybe it's a nice balance of the like not really knowing how to play it, people playing it wrong. Man, we're at pick 130. I did not give myself a ton of quarterback outs with this build. Even CJ Stroud is gone. All right, I guess I'll do it. Geno Smith, come on down. If CJ Stroud was there, I would have gone Kirk and hoped that Stroud fell to me. Give me a couple outs there, but that's again, this is what you have to look out for on DraftKings, which is part of the nice thing about having a real-time assistant tool like the Sidekick. Is I normally would not be looking for a quarterback at 130 or looking for Geno Smith at 130. I think I can always get him later, but the Sidekick is looking at what is available later on at this position, and Geno Smith to play. I've got two targets right here. All right, Nick Chubb goes. Interesting. I forget that Nick Chubb, his ADP has risen a lot. All right, I'm going to go Tootin. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Maybe at the next turn, my next pick, I would consider Judkins. Maybe I should consider him here. I don't know. Not a believer. Yeah, Sacrilegious. Brady says Sacrilegious got him to draft Bowers last year. That was a nice pick. Yeah, I can imagine that there's a lot of overlap with fantasy in the stock market. Speaking of Tampa, how unique is Godwin value dipping? I've got a few reasons why Godwin's falling ADP creates highest ceiling when factoring potential roster construction. Yeah, you're definitely going to get some different builds depending on how long it lasts. Like if the dip continues for the rest of the drafting period, they might not be quite as unique as right now, but certainly like because people are drafting a lot earlier in the season, similar to any falling player, like you're probably getting some unique builds. Oh yeah, this is perfect. Steve says score assistant for Neil. All Vikings get 1.5 points per point. Love that. Who's one player gravitating to right now just from pure intuition? I'm kind of gravitating to Kevontae Turpin as a late round pick. It's one of those that's like, it's probably stupid to think that he's actually going to have running game work. You don't actually see it that often where wide receivers get like enough running back work to be useful, but it feels like a situation where they don't love any of their starting running backs. They're using this speedy player at running back in practice. They're talking about it quite a bit. So I'm just like, what if he does carve out like, 8 carries per game or something? That's super unlikely, but like I can almost envision that he's maybe not 8, but like a significant number of carries per game. And then he's obviously a receiver also, so they can just use Kevontae Turpin in some really unique ways. So he kind of intrigues me. Jerome Ford, a player I've talked about quite a bit. I think that he's kind of just underrated. I think he's actually a good player. You look at his metrics from last year, his explosive run rate, his just basic like yards per carry was like 5.4 on a really bad Browns team. He was like surprisingly good last year, and now his only real competition, I think, are 2 rookie running backs, one of whom might not play this year. The other one being 4th round rookie, who I also gravitate toward, Dylan Sampson, who Steve just got a 150. I have to love that. So yeah, Dylan Sampson, one that I think everybody kind of gravitates towards, but yeah, Jerome Ford, I think I'm not on an island. I know JJ is super in on him. Somebody said Liam is as well, but I really like Jerome Ford where he goes in drafts. I've been taking a lot of Stafford as he's been falling, mostly because I really like Stafford's backstacking options. I like Jordan Whittington as a late round pick. I like Tutu Atwell as a late round pick, and I like Tyler Higbee. Like all 3 of them, I think are really strong late round picks if Stafford is healthy. All right, Bryce Young. Yeah, I guess I'll do it. Maybe I should have looked at my options there. Usually I look at the options available before I just take the suggestion, but I think I'm good with that. Super out on Trey Benson right now with the really negative coach speak. Like the way the coach speak is moving from like, oh yeah, this is a 1A, 1B situation to get asked about Trey Benson. They're like, yeah, he might not have, yes and no, asked whether he's going to have more work than last year. It's like, maybe. We like a lot of our running backs. Pretty negative the way they've moved. Drew, so close to getting your guy Hollywood Brown at pick 156. That's got to hurt. It's got to hurt. GM Benny. Yeah, Vikings. I don't love that the Vikings schedule in general is a tough one. Drew did it to me. What an asshole. I don't draft a ton of Thielen these days. I think I am inclined to IKB this one. Perhaps foolishly. Do I want Dobbs or Thielen? Or Leggett? They're all stacked for me. Yeah, I guess probably Dobbs. Double stack the Packers. All right. Broncos 15-17 looks nice. Andrew says, "What's up, Jason?" One of my IRL friends who is a huge Jaguars fan because he grew up in Alaska. Naturally, he gravitated toward the Jaguars as his team. Yeah, I draft Tootin, probably my most drafted running back. I think he's a great pick still. I think I already answered this question. Bink King. Do you think there are any DFS principles which are either not being applied or being misapplied in best ball? This is a question that I've talked about a few times, and I need to think about it again because it's a good question. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways people play it wrong as far as like trying too hard to beat a field of 700,000 by being super unique. So they do things like weird constructions, which, you know, like only drafting 3 running backs, which like, okay, this is what if it hits? What if these 3 are the 3 running backs you need? And then you have, you know, 10 picks at wide receiver and you've got all this. And I think it's not a good idea in general to do a ton of that because you're not competing against 700,000 teams at one time ever. Yeah, your odds are still, you need to be first out of 700,000 or whatever the number is. Still, like it's the same odds to get first, but the way you build your team is not to try to beat 700,000 at once. You're beating 12 and then you're beating, and I don't remember the exact pod dynamics, but it's like 12 and then 16 and then 16 and then on DraftKings like a little over 1,000. So like you don't need to be super weird. You don't need to be perfect to get there. And you're just more likely to get there if you do draft a 4th running back, a 5th running back, whatever, depending on the site you're on. So I think that people do get a little bit too cute with their, oh, this is so weird. Nobody ever does this. That's one thing. I'm trying to think what else people do that they try to apply DFS and apply it wrong. Because I think there are probably a lot of things like that. All right, Xavier Leggett fits this team, so I'll do it here. The rare Leggett share. Coach Speak has been really positive on Leggett. I don't totally buy it. But that'd be a good question. Maybe I'll ask Shady advice on Wednesday what he thinks. I'll think of anything else too. Chirpin could be Corderell. Wait, which podcast? I don't think I've watched a podcast on this. I'm just basing it on Coach Speak. I mean, I think a lot of people are reading like the Coach Speak Index and you know the same reports I am. So it's not a take that is mine and mine alone. But curious which podcast you're talking about. All right. So I have a 3-4-7-1. Oh, Jack Besh. I do have Gino. That makes sense. All right, marathon. And while it says marathon scoring, but rookies score 1.5 points, so you have to weigh early season production versus boosted. Oh, that'd be kind of fun. I mean, rookies just become super valuable. Suddenly, Genty's the 101 in that format. Yeah, Turpin is flashy. Just a fun player. In fact, also in on late Rams. So we're going to be fighting for them in this draft. If we're buying Turpin as consensus, do you see Dak getting steamed up ADP? I think Dak is going to get steamed. Also, we have Micah Parsons requesting a trade. That defense, I think, is just the defense could be really bad. They don't have a ton of great running backs. I mean, they like Miles Sanders apparently. Jadon Blue getting a lot of hype, but in general, just not a great running back room, we think. So with a bad running back room, defense potentially getting worse, I would not be surprised to see Dak, CD, Pickens, the receivers get steamed up a little bit. Yeah, Drew didn't need Hollywood because he's got a lot of wide receivers. I'm behind in chat, aren't I? Okay. Oh, interesting. Jason says, not high on Bryce Young. I was surprised PFF had their O-line projected 11th. Think you could surprise people. I am pretty high on Bryce Young. No, I think Bryce Young pretty strong pick right now with his running upside. You're welcome. Stealing Thielen from me, Steve. What's up, Al Boogie? Good to see you. Jason says the Jaguar starter jacket at JCPenney's in 1995 was fire. So that's why he chose the Jaguars, while his older brother chose the Steelers, which had to be like the worst starter jacket, the most boring. There's no colors or anything. But that was a factor, I'm sure, for a lot of us at the time. Those starter jackets, I loved. I was a Bulls fan, so I had the Bulls starter jacket, and it was just dream come true for me in the 90s. Yeah, the Jaguars, I can imagine that was pretty sick. Fact ass. I don't know if you're asking specifically about your draft right now to stack our best player available. Always a tough choice. All right, later, Vic. Oh, Karain and Bime4 talked about. Okay, I did not catch that one yet. Oh yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Miles Sanders also. Like, I don't think Turpin's going to be like their RB1. I don't think, but like, I like the upside there. Yeah, I haven't done a ton of tight end premium stuff. I'm in a dynasty league now that is tight end premium, and I got Colston Loveland, so that was fun. Sad. Andrew says, I can't even fill a marathon. Sat for 2 hours and nothing. Maybe that's gonna be overlay though. Do you have different strats for draft positions? Yeah, I mean, always. Oh, am I on the clock? No. I'm up next. Okay, now I'm on the clock. I gotta say, I've been IKBing off of Kareem Hunt a ton, and I think I might end up regretting that in a big way based on all the buzz. I'm just like, I can't get myself to click it. Kareem Hunt, like, why would they give this guy carries? But everything seems to be indicating that they're going to, and that I should have just trusted the sidekick. Just give me the fun rookies, but the Chiefs like Kareem Hunt for some reason. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt in the 17th round now. That's where we've gotten with Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. Interesting. I'm tempted to just go with like Shipley here or Hunter. Yeah, I think I like enough of these later receivers better. So I am going to. And this is probably like talk to Scott Barrett. He talked me off of scared me off of Fryermuth a little bit, just from the standpoint of he thinks they might really just not like Fryermuth, and that's why they traded for Jonnu Smith. And I can't get that out of my head of like, what if he's just kind of shadow realmed? But he's pretty good, so it's probably not it. I just see other tight ends later that I also really like, so I think Hunter's a fun player. Yeah, so different stress for different positions. I mean, yeah, I'm always, the old like what's available later at the position, like when I'm drafting at the 10, 11, 12, when Omarion Hampton was going at the 3-4 turn, I would always I would take wide receivers at those positions because I knew I would have Omarion Hampton coming back. So it's really just it's not that I always have different strats for different positions. It's depending on right now what's going to be available later at this pick. So what do I want to take to set myself up? So like early on the board, if I'm drafting in the 2 or 3 hole, I know there's usually some pretty strong running backs coming back in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I'm a little bit more inclined to take Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb than Bijan Robinson or Saquon Barkley, because I know I can get Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, those guys in the Josh Jacobs in the 2nd and 3rd rounds there. So it's just thinking about what's going to be available. Oh, that's right. The Hollits are from Pennsylvania. Ooh, Ryan says they're one more to start a big dog on underdog. I'm guessing that's going to fill before I'm done with this draft. Now, I'll probably just do 2. I'm a little bit tempted. Kind of want to save. I'm only doing a couple more big dogs, though. So I probably want to save it for later in August anyway. But I imagine that's tempting for a guy like Shady. Okay, it just filled anyway. Yeah, round 16, Brashard Smith. Does Cooper I have not drafted any Amari Cooper. I think it's a lot more likely that Keenan Allen signed somewhere. Steve says, didn't they just give Fryermuth an extension? But that was before they traded for. I mean, yeah, obviously if they gave him an extension, then they don't hate him. That is a fair point. Yeah, that's true. You can't really wait on JCM because he's often gone by the 18th. That is a good point. Shady says he's been sitting in that big dog queue for the last 48 hours. All right, so he's in. All right, let's see. I mean, Fryermuth makes it back to me, so all right, fine. I will give in and I will trust the sidekick now and take Fryermuth. Drew says there's talk in Wolfpack text of a stream tonight. So potential stream with Drew and Justin Steele and Debro. I do have plans tonight. My wife, by the way, started a new job today. Still at 3M, but started a new job. But she was invited to a party, and then I was invited also to go to a party with one of her coworkers from the department that she's leaving. So I'm going out tonight. Maybe later. Our streams are pretty late generally. So yeah, it's possible I'd be down later. Ooh, Noah Fant. Did my guy go? Higbee went? I think Higbee went. Sad. And JT Sanders, the two that I really wanted here. But Noah Fant. Seems like he's signing. These guys, the psychic guys, they're on top of it. They're on top of their stuff. Sure. Let's go Noah Fant. I am completely out on, speaking of players, I'm completely out on Terrence Ferguson. Just all of this coach speak to me sounds like he's not really in the plans this year. He's mostly supposed to be their future plan for when Tyler Higbee retires. Now, obviously, if something happens to Tyler Higbee, then maybe Ferguson, his timeline gets moved up. Oh, is this true? Or is Jade? You're not trolling, are you? Jade says Cooper just announced his retirement. You wouldn't troll me, would you? Jason and I have we're competing in our text thread for who is the shams of our text thread. I mean, it's not a real competition because I just absolutely crush him. He posts fake news all the time. But that'd be pretty good to get me on Amari Cooper news while I'm doing a stream. Okay, this would be classic Jason. Walter says, I think the Cooper thing was a fake Schefter tweet. Yeah, we did get a fake Schefter tweet today saying that Cooper is retiring. I'm not seeing it from a real source. It would be funny if fake Schefter just started posting real stuff, getting stuff right. All right, let's take a look at the teams. All right, so my team, it's a 3-6-8-3. Probably my most standard build on DraftKings. I've got Jordan Love, RJ Harvey, Trevion Henderson, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, Brock Bowers, Matthew Golden, Jordan Mason, Brandon Ayuk, Geno Smith, Bashal Tutin, Bryce Young, Romeo Dobbs, Xavier Legette, Jack Besh, DJ Giddens, Jarquez Hunter, Pat Freiermuth, and Noah Fant. So it's Jordan Love with Matthew Golden and Romeo Dobbs. Geno Smith with Brock Bowers and Jack Besh. Bryce Young with just Xavier Legette. I feel good about that. I think it's a strong enough team. Yeah, my early season running backs, not quite sure who's going to be getting the work, getting enough work to score points but I think between RJ Harvey, Trevion Henderson, Jordan Mason, Bashal Tutin, I've got 4 guys who should be scoring some points early on, even if they are splitting carries. Anybody else want me to look at your team before I move on to another draft? JSU confirms that. Jason. This is why you'll never be the Schefter of group chat. Also, Drew Binking says he's essentially been retired for a few years now. Drink beer, says North Rustic Design. Maybe I will later. All right, fact. I'll check out your team. Check out Billy's team, and then we'll do another one. Start with fact. So fact goes 3-6-8-3. So same structure as mine. Caleb Williams, Ashton Genty, Devon Achan, JSN, DJ Moore, Ricky Pearsall, Tyler Warren, Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Jones, Josh Downs, CJ Stroud, Mason Taylor, Jalen Wright, Sam Darnold, Jalen Knoll, Pat Bryant, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Jalen Royals, JT Sanders, and Elick Ayominor. So you have Caleb with DJ Moore, who also might be getting some run as a running back. CJ Stroud with, who do you have? You have Jalen Knoll. and then Sam Darnold. Naked? No, with JSN. Okay. So you've got 3 stacked up quarterbacks. Did you do, I guess you've got Carolina bring back for the Seattle game. Ricky Pearsall bring back for the Chicago game. Nice. You're all stacked up. Houston is playing what, the Chargers? You've got your game stacks in there. Looks good. Really strong. Another tidbit from Sacrilege trying to win the flex. You've got really strong flex players from the jump here. Ashton Genty, Devin Achane, Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Jones, just really strong at running back. Your wide receivers still seem strong enough to me. JSN, DJ Moore, Pearsall, Downs. Yeah, I like this team. Billy does the 2-8-7-3, so a little bit of a unique build with 8 running backs. Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, Jacoby Myers, Rome Odunze, David Njoku, Brian Robinson, Jalen Warren, Darnell Mooney, Dallas Goedert, Matthew Stafford, Jonnu Smith, Josh Palmer, Braylon Allen, Justice Hill, Ray McLeod, Will Shipley, Eli Mitchell, and Tutu Atwell is the team. Now, I would say, so my first instinct is you have 8 running backs after taking Derrick Henry and Kyren Williams both early. You wait a little bit then on Brian Robinson, Jalen Warren, Braylon Allen, Justice Hill, Will Shipley, Eli Mitchell. On the one hand, it seems like a lot to go 8 running backs when you have such a strong core with Henry, Williams, B-Rob, and Warren. But at the same time, a lot of the later flyers, the running backs are just the most likely to put up a lot of points. I probably would have made at least one of these running backs a wide receiver, but I see why you didn't. Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. Yeah, if you have Jalen Hurts, I think just two quarterbacks is probably fine. David Njoku, tight end 1 with Dallas Goedert. And Jonnu Smith. Yeah, it seems like a good tight end room to me. I like a lot of your player choices. But yeah, I would probably, flip one of those running backs into a wide receiver just because you're so strong at the top at running back. But yeah, no real issue with it. It's just the players you like best were running backs there. Oh, is that right? Shady says KLS going to the auto drafter was a bummer in that last round. Yeah, that is. Who did I assume that Shady has Justin Herbert? Or just you wanted him? Oh yeah, Justin Herbert. Yeah, that is a bummer. Shady goes with a 3-6-8-3. Kyler, Bucky, Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase, Ted McMillan, Jawan Jennings, Trey McBride, Chris Godwin, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Herbert, Luther Burden, Tua Tagovailoa, Kyle Williams, Hunter Henry, Miles Sanders, Rashard Smith, Michael Wilson, Harold Fannin, Keaton Mitchell, and Devon Vele for Shady. So he's got Kyler with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson, right? Yeah, and Michael Wilson double stacked there. Justin Herbert. So are you counting on KLS? Do you have some? All right, so no stack with Justin Herbert. Tua. Anybody with Tua? No, I don't think. So no team stacks with the quarterbacks outside of Kyler double stack. Interesting. Nice. So 3-6-8-3. I feel like your teams end up a little bit less stacked with your quarterback than mine do. Even when I do IKB or when I do just take the sidekick advice, I feel like I always end up with a couple. Maybe I just don't pay close enough attention. But it seems like using the sims that he created still doesn't always get all of the quarterbacks super stacked up. All right. New Glarus, always good. I'm a fan of New Glarus. Jason. Maker's Mark, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Maker's Mark. All right, let's do another draft. Who's in? Going back to the lobby. $20 Millie Maker on DraftKings. Entering now. 8 more. Do you guys know you can take full screenshots of your teams again on DraftKings? For a while it wasn't possible, but it is possible now. Again, they have little download buttons both on, at least on my iPhone and on the PC. You can. Reminder, as we're waiting to get into the next one, if you could, it's really helpful if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you want to get notifications when I go live, you can hit the little notification bell on YouTube. It's all very helpful. Of course, commenting under the video, always appreciated as well. All right, so who's in this one? Drew in the 4 spot. LOL win. Is that LOL Samo? I don't know. Billy's in this one again. I am in the 9 hole here. Tyler's in here. Anybody else in this one with us? Oh, W. Berglund, I know. Remind me, because I don't know everybody's usernames. I didn't even look at Steve's team. I don't think you asked me to, so, right. But apologies if you did and I missed it. Oh, you're in North Rustic Design in the 2 spot. So you are W Berglund. Okay. Didn't know your name on here. On YouTube. Right, says he's liking, I assume you're talking about the big dog team. I like Angel's MV2. I've been super into Maker's Mark 46, whatever it's called. Has 46 in the name. I really like that bourbon. Billy gonna take all my guys. Oh, Ryan. Oh yeah, you're talking about the big dog. Not in this one. Overcat Fantasy in the 10 spot. Okay. Olsamo is, and then Overcat in the 10 spot. Good. We got several people in here. So you are Fat Bobby 423. The 9 spot, it really just depends on what falls to me here. I can really like the 9 spot, but it's often like you just miss out on the players you really want. But I should be higher on, maybe I should be more excited than I am to get Brees Hall or JSN, you know. Just they're always there. So when they fall to me, I'm like, it's kind of boring. But like they could be awesome. So you just never know. All right, Steve says, highly recommend Russell's Reserve 10-year for a good, solid bourbon. Okay. Emerald says, speaking of bourbon, man, am I glad it's Friday. Can't wait to sit down with a glass and rip some drafts tonight. I think it's been a week since I've had bourbon. I don't get super drunk very often these days, but I did. Last Thursday, I went to a DraftKings event and like woke up feeling awful afterwards. It was like, so it's open bar. So DraftKings, the Fantasy Golf World Championship was here. I was just invited by my DK rep to go as a guest. And so I went. It was at a place called the Puttery, where you can do mini golf in Minneapolis. And, you know, a lot of DFS people I know were there. It was a really good time, but they were super attentive to if your glass was getting low. So I was drinking a lot. And And then the one time they were not attentive was when I asked for water. So it was like the drunkest I've gotten in a while. And I was like, all right, I'm never drinking again. And I have the past week have not had any bourbon, just sticking to beer or nothing. Oh, we got news that Mixon is out at least 6 weeks. That is interesting. And he says he learned to not drink and draft the hard way. Yeah. Mini golf is a lot of fun. I love mini golf. My brother and I used to mini golf all the time when we were kids. My younger brother. I guess my older brother, I think we did too for a period. It's been 14 hours for Drew. That's actually a record for Drew. 14 hours without bourbon. Good for you. All right, all the running backs go. I go BTJ or Bowers. I actually don't hate London here either. I've got a lot of Puka London just because it is the week 17. I'm gonna trust the sidekick wreck here. I feel like this is a little bit more unique to get Brian Thomas Jr. Not like super unique. I feel like he falls more often than you'd think. Also, shout out to Jason, another Jags. Take another one of your Jags guys. I'm not a huge rye drinker. Sometimes I'll drink it in a mixed drink, but I don't drink like straight rye. Bourbon, I just it's bad for me. I drink it just on the rocks, and I could drink it all night if it didn't make me sick to drink it all night. It's funny. I don't like it just straight. Like I don't like a bourbon that is not on the rocks. It needs to be on the rocks, and then I just love it. Sorry, Billy. Billy wanted the LSU start, and I stole it from him. How do you guys value Brian Thomas Jr. in Dynasty? That was a question that I saw Jason posing today in our group chat. Because somebody offered him, I'm trying to remember what the trade was. It was like Emeka Egbuka, Jordan Love, and a 2027 first or something like that for BTJ. And to me, I probably would not do that as the BTJ owner. Just I think the upside is too high to do that trade. But there are other people arguing the opposite, that was maybe, or maybe there's something he listened. He's a big fan of the fantasy footballers, so maybe it was something that they talked about. But to me, I do fall on the side of I wouldn't do that if I had BTJ. I think that it's a fair question because of the Travis Hunter, like a little bit murkier there for BTJ. All right, let's see. Yeah, RGT says rye is better for mixing. Add Grand Marnier for the best old fashioned. I believe that. I do like it in a mixed drink. I don't. What is mezcal? Is that like a tequila? Is it its own thing? I know I've had it, but it's not something I drink a lot of. On DK this year, CLN says, I don't mind doing a more heavy RB approach early because wide receiver prices seem very inefficient. That has been kind of my approach that has evolved over time. Is I like more of the late wide receivers, so I'm more willing to draft running backs early. So with you there. Yeah, I mean, the Cam Scadaboo injury is a concern for him. I've boosted Tyrone Tracy ahead of Cam Scadaboo in my ranks. Steve, don't tell Meg, please. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. A rookie getting hurt this early, like interrupting his training camp, that's a concern. Tyrone Tracy, maybe he'll have fumbling issues, and that could be an issue, but I really wanted Devontae Adams there. That's a bummer. I think I'm going. They're all week 8. All the receivers here are week 8. And I've already got 2 week 8 receivers. All right. I'll trust the sidekick. I've got 3 week 8 receivers to start. You know that this hurts me deep down in my soul, but I'll do it anyway. Oh, it's a smoky tequila. That's right. So yeah, I am concerned about it. I also have a lot more Scatterboo than I do of Tyrone Tracy. So part of it is just like, all right, I think this is a good time to make a pivot to just move Tyrone Tracy 1 spot ahead of Scatterboo in my ranks. So just this afternoon, when the sidekick recommends Scatterboo to me, I will often take Tyrone Tracy, which I understand. Shady probably listening, like, what are you doing, Neil? That's not how it works. But that's the way I've been approaching it, and then letting the sidekick adjust for me after that. But yeah, I have a lot more Scatterboo than Tyrone Tracy. I have enough concern about a rookie being hurt that I am holding off and seeing if he falls. And if he does fall, I'll probably buy the dip. But I'm gonna give him the chance to fall right now. He also was going a lot later on DraftKings before, so right now I feel like he's moved up. There was a while when I could get Cam Scatterboo in the 120s pretty regularly. So I think there's a chance it just moves back there, and I'm just gonna let it happen. Yeah, Billy, come on, man. Just let me have Devontae Adams. I mean, I wouldn't have if I were you either, but would have been nice. I see you're also doing the Rams Atlanta backwards. Drake London with Devontae Adams. That's fun. Keelan says he just realized he was watching the streams 30 minutes in the past. Been there so many times. Joe. All right, so we're at a 4 wide receiver start here. We are piss boys. I'm the only one with a 4 wide receiver start. This is different than 2024. Also, I don't do it that much these days. Yeah, Billy says I need to spruce up my playoff matchups. I don't have any tools. If I get week 17 correlation, it's usually by accident. Yeah, I mean, it's if you're not going to use any tools, probably worth knowing. I don't have week 15 or 16 at all. Don't know who plays anybody week 15 or week 16. I just trust the tools for that. I've got my week 17 memorized. Still takes me a minute for those week 17 matchups to remember all of them. It's been a bummer to see George Pickens move up to mid 4th round. Used to be able to get him in the 5th sometimes. Those were the days. Ted McMillan went at 39 here. Used to be able to get him in the 5th round. So it actually seems like DraftKings has gotten a little bit less soft than it was a month ago. But still, I'd say softer than Underdog. And it's this is on a stream draft. Several of us are watching this. Several people in chat are in this draft. So it's going to be tougher than your typical, if I just do it at a random time at night. Little fall for Joe Burrow. I guess not that big of a fall, but you don't see him fall that often these days on DraftKings. Connor feels like a good click right now. Like, the coaches just love James Conner. And with good reason. He's been really good. He's maybe the only one from that draft class that I'm currently drafting, like, without too much age concern. And I feel like I should probably have more age concern because I've had age concern with James Conner before, injury concern. And right now I'm just drafting him confidently. Hunter goes. That's good because I have a ton of week 8 buys already. Oh, Ridley went too. I didn't even notice that Ridley went. All right, Jennings is there. I should move Diggs up ahead of Jennings. Don't love that Jennings hurt the same ankle that was bothering him previously. Just enough to move Diggs up ahead of him right now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the 3 spot, it's a unique team, but I actually don't hate it. Like, you went Josh Allen in the second round. Actually, I think that's a pretty good team. Good question. Kriya says, genuine question. If you were a paying customer, what portfolio outcomes are you looking for to justify your RTA subscription? What do you mean by portfolio outcomes? Like, do you mean like at the end of the year, how much money are you, like, what would you happy with as far as a return on investment? Because these, like, I play exclusively tournaments. Like, I don't really expect to win money if I'm playing, 150 in the DraftKings Millie or BBM. If I lose money, I'm not going to be like, this product was shit. Like, I should not have used this RTA tool. Portfolio outcomes. It's a good question. Like, from a, like, if I have a lot of X player, so like if you're using the sidekick, you're probably going to get a lot of Drake May. I think that's like the classic example. Like, if all of the players that they are recommending above the field end up being crap players, yeah, I would be like, all right, maybe I don't want to do this again next year. But also, like, I don't know, it's always like, it's only one slate. Like, things go wrong. It happens all the time. DFS, where I get all the players that I think are going to smash absolutely suck. All my big fades do really well. Like, I think we play these games enough to kind of know at this point that, like, you can't really expect perfection from any product. So I don't really know that there is a way that this can go that I'm going to be like totally swear off it in an RTA tool, regardless of whether it's the sidekick or whatever else you might be using. Because at the end of the day, we're still making the decisions. Like, maybe if you're clicking the top option every time, and you end up with a team with a bunch of like 4 quarterback, 4 tight end teams, and you're like, I never would have done this on my own, but I trusted the tool, and then you're like, your portfolio completely sucks. Then maybe at that point, I'd think there's something broken. But yeah, I don't know. What portfolio outcomes are you looking for to justify your RTA subscription? I don't know. It's a tough question. What's up? What's up, Charles? Good to see you. Oh, you meant 4 spot. Okay. Oh, my RTA tool was blocking a team. Oh, you're poking at Drew. Okay. Always in to poke at Drew. Agree with that. All right. Okay, so how you do, you're asking. Yeah, like I don't expect, if these are the tournaments I'm playing, I don't expect to profit. Actually, I don't think that these tools work in cash games. If the tools do work in cash games, then I would probably expect a profit. And I would be like, if I profit though, like I would say that probably justifies the cost if I'm playing enough volume. Obviously, if you're playing $100 of cash games, then that doesn't justify the price of, I think, any of these tools. But yeah, like in tournaments, I'm not coming out with the expectation of profit. Like even like if I think that my portfolio is plus EV, I think most years I'm going to lose money. So it would be more like a, after 10 years, if you're playing not just the Million Maker, if you're playing, you know, the contests that have a flatter payout structure or better advancement structure, maybe then after 10 years I look at it and I say, okay, I'm still not profitable playing these contests where my expectation is to profit. But I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, so I'm struggling to answer it because I don't know exactly what my answer is. I suspect, like on the whole, people using the sidekick will probably be profitable this year. Maybe this year it's still like a one season sample, but like across 10 years, if you're using like the people using it as a whole will probably be profitable. But because these are such top heavy tournaments, I still would think a majority of users are going to be losing money. Also fair. Yeah, if Shady wins more money than me, I'm also asking for a refund. Yeah, CLN says draft players who score a lot of points don't get hurt in Sun Run weeks 15 to 17. That's the formula. What are you using to justify if your RTA of choice is worth it? I mean, it's just for a single season, it's just so difficult to answer that question because like any slate, most people are like, nobody should have the expectation that I'm going to profit on this slate unless you're playing a ton of cash games. Like I think that's what Herzig did, based on like reading the Rolling Stone article. I think he had a season where he made a ton of money just playing straight up, just like cash games. And there you would have the expectation of making money. If you don't make money, you played poorly. So then maybe you could blame a tool. But like, this is more like we're playing huge tournaments. So the expectation isn't like, I'm going to win every time I play, even though like we're doing, 150 lineups in these tournaments. We're doing a bunch of different contests. On your average DFS slate, nobody wins more often than they lose if they're playing tournaments. Even Shady advice, even the best players in the world don't win. I mean, maybe lately for Shady advice, but yeah, even the best players in the world lose money like much more frequently than they make money on a given day. So I'm not going to like look at it and say, I lost money. This tool is absolute shit. It's just like, yeah, most of us are going to lose money because these are really top heavy tournaments. If you don't win the tournament, you're going to lose money. Fantasy Football Dad says, sorry, Neil, how do you access the DK data on best ball combos? Heard you talk about it on another podcast. Just Google DraftKings best ball data, and it's like DK Network. There's a link there. It's not updated past June 27th, and from what I understand, it's not going to be updated until later this month. But yeah, that's where you can find the data. Yeah, as Charles says, in the end, this is gambling. Tools help you make better choices, but doesn't guarantee you win. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny, Drew. I've seen your teams, buddy. All right. See, here's where I am. Just as of right now, I think I have a higher level of concern about Cam Scadaboo. So I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy here. Because to me, it's always been sort of a coin toss between those two. So with a little bit of concern, rookie in camp, like I'm just going to break the tie. Shady says, I better win more than you since I'll be in for 150K or so. That's also true. Kriya says, like, shouldn't you draft half your teams with RTA and half without year over year to compare if it's valuable? With a large enough sample, that would probably be valuable. Like, that would be a useful exercise, I suppose. But again, for like one single slate, so 1 year is one slate, I don't think it really tells you that much, even if you are more successful in your non-RTA drafts. But yeah, I think that's good exercise. I think that's a one way to test how valuable it is for you over the course of several seasons. If you're like consistently outpacing the RTA, then get rid of the RTA. And I'm not saying this as like a big shill for the RTA. I don't have a promo code for this tool or anything like that. But I just like, I think it's a good tool. Like I trust the guys that made the Sidekick. So yeah, I wouldn't use it if I didn't think it was good. And I still like I said, like I IKB it. If I have a difference of opinion on them on, you know, the chance of Judkins being a 0, I think that I feel like there's greater odds than they do that Judkins is going to be a 0 this year. So I just IKB off that pick. You can still use it to the extent you want to. That's kind of my approach. It allows you to get in a lot more slow drafts. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly my thought. Emerald says, I'm trusting that since some of the best ball players of all time and one of the most profitable DFS players made the Sidekick, I'm choosing that one. I think the Sidekick strikes me as very good. Yeah, I trust it, but there's no reason, like if you don't want to use it, if you just think I make good teams on my own, I don't want something telling me what to do, that's also valid. Yeah, this is also, Billy says, I think if you have enough volume, RTA makes a ton of sense just for the ease of use and additional easy access info. Yeah, I mean, that's, for me, that's the big thing. So like you see me IKB it all the time in my fast drafts on these streams where I'm not going to take this pick, not going to take this pick. In slow drafts where I'm on the clock in 50 drafts, I'm a lot more likely to just be like, all right, I'm choosing between the top 3 options here a lot of the time. But regardless, it just, yeah, it gives you a lot more information. Oh yeah, I have a teammate with that quarterback. That's why they're suggesting it. I have 3 buy overlaps there. I don't want that player. Just saves a lot of mental space for me. Aw, thanks, Charles. Says, I have the best tool. It's this YouTube channel. FK Cooler says, wait, what? I'm going to lose. Why did nobody tell me sooner? You just got to listen to Davis. Davis has been trying to tell you we're all going to lose anyway. Just have fun. What are we doing, Drew? Make your pick, man. Guy really milking it. Marvin Mims, all that to take Marvin Mims, Drew. Yeah, it is. It is in fact in the fine print. Yeah, Trey Lance, great pick right now. All right, here's what Shady says. If you don't have a way to sim things, I think there's not much value in A/B testing 10 slates. Plus EV players can have losing MLB seasons, and that's 150 slates or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's, at the end of the day, it's really, really tough to test these things if you're not simming them yourself. and CLN agrees. So I don't think drafting that half using RTA and half your own would mean anything, since ADP values change and draft dynamics change along with injuries, plus the various in-season randomness. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a really small sample regardless. Oh shit, I'm on the clock. Thank God. I got Bashal Tutin again. Almost missed my pick, and I got Bashal Tutin. Living the dream here. All right, do I go double stack with May? Yeah, I'm gonna do double stack. I was sort of hoping Trevor Lawrence would make it back to me, but I thought there was like zero chance that Fat Bobby was going to pass up on him, because I knew he had Travis Hunter and only one quarterback. People really do avoid Tutin on DK. Yeah. I get so much Tutin. No. Charles asks at the 1.12, last 3 times I did HN London, am I giving up too much CLV? I don't think so. I think that's a perfectly fine 1.12. I usually, if I have the same spot 3 in a row, I'll mix up who I'm taking there, but those are, especially, I assume that's DraftKings. On DraftKings, I think they're both pretty strong picks. 50% Tutin Emold has on DraftKings. I think I'm less than that, but like I think he's still my highest owned. Let's see. Go to upcoming player exposure. There we go. I've got 40% Tutin on DraftKings. 44% Jalen Noel, 34% Miles Sanders, 32% RJ Harvey, 31% Tony Pollard, 28% Romeo Dobbs, 27% Brock Bowers. I got a lot more stands on DraftKings for me, which I think is just players that I want go later, or like people often will let them fall. Part of the fun of DraftKings is you can take bigger stands, whereas Underdog is like, if I want to be overweight on a player, I have to take them around early. Yeah, Garendo. I don't dislike that pick either. Seems like the contingent upside is pretty massive for Garendo. I actually don't take that much. Like I probably don't have as much as I should, because I'm often taking Dylan Sampson in that spot. All right, so I'm at 2370. Interesting. At Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Evans, RJ Harvey, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, Kyler Murray, Tyrone Tracy, Drake May, Bashal Tutin, and Kyle Williams. Where did Jordan Love went at 131? Interesting. Brenton Strange is a suggestion. Yeah. All right. If I had seen somebody else that I really liked there, I would have gone a different direction, but all right. Suggestion is Hunter Henry. I think I'm going to wait. I don't have enough Braylon Allen right now, and I'm starting to worry that he's about to get steamed up quite a bit. So I'm going to take the, fourth, fifth suggestion on the sidekick. Because there are, I think, enough later tight ends that I like. Now, Hunter Henry is stacked with a quarterback. He might be the best option here, so it's a sacrifice, but no way Braylon Allen's coming back to me. All right, let's see. All right, started RB, then 7 wide receivers in a King of the Desert qualifier. Yeah, I agree with that. Randall says nice to have 3 running backs and be able to attack on 2 of those guys, or Ray Davis, Jadon. Yeah, there's a lot that I like in that range. Thanks, Emwald. See you later. Yeah, it would be cool if we can get on later with the Wolfpack crew. Strange is a smash, Billy says. I do like Strange. I do like Strange. Charles says Allen and Dowdle have been his 2 highest draft running backs. The coach pick on Dowdle is sort of interesting. They're like not going to disclose what they're using him for. Like there was a question this week to, I think, Canales, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to go into specifics about how we're going to use Rico Dowdle, but I think he can do all the things. I think all of our running backs can do all the things, can catch the ball out of the backfield and pass protect. And it was kind of interesting that he didn't like give more specific. Like, yeah, I think he's going to be awesome in the passing game this year, which is kind of my expectation, but he would not get into it. Strange also has that week 8 bye, which is some of my favorite late round tight ends have that week 8 bye. It's kind of a bummer, but seems like most of the good tight ends have. I mean, both of Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. So maybe I just need to stop worrying about it. Anthony Richardson at 146 in this draft. The hype is real. Sounds like he's probably going to start. Which I do not love. I have a lot of Daniel Jones, particularly in the Superflex contest. I did the puppy. I did not do the latest Superflex. Let's see, Henry goes at 173. Pretty close to making it back. Not quite. I think I already have Drake May double stacked. I would have liked Pop Douglas, but I already got the double stack. I think I prefer Mason Taylor to Cade Otton for the week 17 stack. Oh, Jerome Ford was, that would have been a good pick. I didn't even look at my, Miles Sanders there. Some quarterback options available. I'm just going to do Mason Taylor. Week 17, Pats, Jets, game stack. All right, I'm behind. Let's see. Arroyo, Laporta, Strange for Wait, Terrence Ferguson. I don't draft Terrence Ferguson. I'm pretty out on Terrence Ferguson, but for me it's Higbee. And I'm back on the clock. Kate Otton's still the suggestion here. Any other quarterbacks I like better than Rodgers? Oh, Rodgers the last starting quarterback. I'm just going to do it. I still only have 4 running backs. All right, let me get back to chat. BMAC has a lot of Dowdle. I love talking about Jordan Mason because, I love Jordan Mason. I've been drafting a ton. He's getting to the point where he's like, at this point, I still prefer Aaron Jones on DraftKings, just barely. Like they're like kind of, they bend back to back to me. I've essentially like, I break the tie to Mason on Underdog, to Aaron Jones on DraftKings. Kind of had the expectation the whole time we've been drafting that it's going to be pretty close to a split backfield where it's going to be Jones getting, maybe a little bit more of the overall work, maybe 55-60% for Aaron Jones, but then including most of the passing game work, and then Jordan Mason gets most of the goal line work. Kind of still my expectation. I think Jordan Mason, like they're talking about him as though he could be a pass catcher. Like I do like the coach speak on he's a capable pass catcher. It sounds like they do plan to use him some in the passing game, which the Niners didn't really do. Like they used every other running back in the passing game and not Jordan Mason. I like that the Vikings are at least saying that they might. But regardless, I think he's a pretty strong bet to just, he's going to have some standalone value, even as long as Aaron Jones is healthy, should have that goal line role. But then he just has awesome continued upside. If anything were to happen to Aaron Jones, I'm not too concerned that Ty Chandler is going to, beat him out for any significant carries. I think if anything happened to Aaron Jones, it's going to be Jordan Mason getting 75% of the work for the Vikings. I'm super high on Jordan Mason. Have you done a 4 quarterback punt team? I don't think I have. I don't hate it though. I think it's probably something that happens sometimes if you just follow the sidekick. I don't think I've done it though. Okay, that makes sense. Wade says, wanted to make sure I got AR at 146. I'm over on Daniel Jones and need even. I mean, it's like, that's kind of at the part where the drafts get so flat. Like, who cares if you reach a little bit? Yeah, and also he has been going super early. Yeah, week 8 buys are just in general a problem. Also, there are 6 teams that have the week 8 buy. That's the only week this year that has 6 teams. I think the past few years, it's always been there are 2 weeks where there are 6 teams on each of them. This year, they're more spread out, I guess. A lot of 4 team bye weeks. All right, so the team is, we're kind of in a spot where we need to target specific positions. 3-4, actually not that bad. 3-4-7-2. I take it back. We're actually in a pretty good spot. We're a little bit weak at running back, but it's not dire. Happen again. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Before pick 200 now. Moving on up. Didn't even get Miles Sanders in this one. I thought he was just mine whenever I wanted him. All right, DJ Giddens, come on down. Now here, because I have Aaron Rodgers unstacked, this is where I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just take the suggestion on Pat Freiermuth if he's there. Like, I'm not a huge believer in the play in general, but on a team where I have the quarterback and the quarterback is completely unstacked, if I don't take him, I have not taken, I don't think, any Jalen Milroe. But I get it. It's just for me, like, quarterbacks, I don't take a lot of uncertain quarterback situations. Like, I don't have any of the Browns guys. I've probably taken a little bit of Daniel Jones, but that's because I was pretty confident for a while that Daniel Jones was going to be the starter when Anthony Richardson was hurt, and that is not working out in my favor. Just generally because I usually only want to take 2 to 3. I don't really want to risk getting a 0 from the quarterback for like a long stretch of time. But yeah, Milroe as a third quarterback, if you have Seattle in your bag, I don't hate it. Probably fine to mix that in. But like, they paid Sam Darnold a lot of money. They would rather just use Darnold, I assume. All right, LOL win with the waiting quite a bit on quarterbacks. This is going to be a 4-quarterback build. Stafford, Dart, Danny Dimes is the 3 quarterbacks. Probably doesn't have a lot of other, like 0 other starter options though. I saw you were also on auto draft for a while, so maybe that's why. I probably would. Randall asked, would you take on another tight end to a Laporta/Hawk build in a 20-rounder best ball? I think I probably would. I think that's something that a lot, like, not always, but like the sidekick will often recommend a late tight end, just because you get to the later rounds and it's a lot of like players who are projected just to be virtual zeros, and then you're deciding between some, Jatavion Sanders, Theo Johnson, just like tight ends that are actually going to put up fantasy points. So yeah, often in that case, I would go with a third tight end, even with 2 pretty strong ones. Just more likely to hit the flex than a lot of the running backs, wide receivers available there. All right. Some of my favorite players still available here, but I can't take them because I'm not built that way, I don't think. I think I probably need to take some running backs. Oh, Higbee goes. Okay. Save me from the pain of not taking Higbee. What's the P-Run note? P-Run and Taj Brooks in line to serve as top company. Interesting. I mean, I knew that, but still an interesting note. Yeah, I guess I'll go Blake Corum. He's always a tough click for me just because he had opportunities last year. They kept on talking about using him, and then they never did. And I'm like, Jarquez Hunter feels more likely to be the standalone value of those two. Like, he just brings a different dynamic than Kyron Williams, whereas Blake Corum is kind of like worse Kyron Williams to me. But maybe that's a misunderstanding of him as a player. Maybe he's better than I think he is. And maybe he has awesome continued upside. Maybe Jarquez Hunter not built to be the main dude. I don't know. Sean Tucker, a player that I wrote up in a thread I did during Best Ball Week of players who are under 20% drafted in the DK Millie. As of June 27th, Sean Tucker was on that list. I think he's a pretty good talent. I don't remember if ETN actually might have been on there also. Turpin goes. You know I love some Turpin. I'll do Tucker here. So I finish with a 3-7-7-3. So my team, here, I'll go back to it. My team is Kyler Murray, RJ Harvey, Tyrone Tracy, Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Brenton Strange, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, Drake May, Bashal Tootin, Kyle Williams, Braylon Allen, Mason Taylor, Aaron Rodgers, DJ Giddens, Pat Freiermuth, Blake Corum, and Sean Tucker. It's not my favorite team that I've ever drafted. Tyrone Tracy is an RB2. Doesn't feel amazing. I get there with volume. I've got some, running backs that I think have breakout potential, but it's going to be in the early going, not getting a lot of points on my running backs. So we'll see if I can overcome that. Quarterbacks also don't, I guess I feel pretty good. Kyler Murray and Drake May, that's a really strong start at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a third, totally fine. So yeah, it's not a terrible team. Obviously, the wide receivers are awesome. Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden. That's just an awesome tight end or wide receiver room. All right, let's see. Losimo says he lost internet for a lot of rounds. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, Gadsden. I have not drafted a ton of Gadsden, but he's sort of intriguing. Yeah, I haven't drafted any Taysom Hill. Maybe I need to read up on his injury, because I just kind of assume he's not going to be much. Kriya says, of course my internet shit out when you answered. Profit strawman argument was a little disappointing. I'm aware this game is highly unprofitable. Best sales pitch was Shady's undeniable fantasy resume. I have nothing to sell here. I'm not selling anything to you. So you can use it or not. I believe in the tool. I just don't know how to answer that question, because you're asking, how do you gauge on one slate whether it's worth using the tool? And I don't think there's a way. I guess is the answer. So I'm trying to give you the best answer I can, but I think that's the answer. It's just there's no real way after one season to tell if it was good or bad. Even if you profit, you could have gotten lucky. So I don't know. I don't think Keenan affects Ladd one iota. I think Ladd is wide receiver one there. I could be wrong. Maybe Keenan is such a, he has a relationship with Justin Herbert. He's such an alpha that Justin Herbert feels compelled to throw to him more than he should. But I don't think I'd be adjusting Ladd if Keenan signs there. I would be adjusting, as I said at the top, I'm a little bit nervous about Trey Harris. I'd probably a little bit of an adjustment on Trey Harris, QJ. But yeah, I don't think it would affect Ladd. Yeah, no, Ray. As far as As far as tight end twos go, he's right up there as one of the best. Interesting. Randall says, I like pairing Rashee Rice with Royals and Christian Kirk with Noel for a safety blanket. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Cost is not crazy. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at Billy's team. All right, Billy has a 3-7-8-2. Jalen Hurts, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Devontae Adams, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Darnell Mooney, JJ. Oh, this team is awesome. JJ McCarthy, Najee Harris, Michael Penix, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Jerome Ford, Jalen Wright, Darius Slayton, Ray McLeod, Raheem Mostert, and Ty Felton. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I love about this team. So Jalen Hurts. Wait, is Hurts completely... Okay, so Hurts is naked. That's fine. Pretty strong at running back. Really strong at receiver. Neighbors, London, Adams. Love that. Hawkinson, Addison. You've got the Vikings triple stack with McCarthy. Love that. I do think you might have too many Falcons. I don't know. I'm generally fine with overstacking in a 20-round draft. You don't need every player to hit at all points. This is earlier than I take Najee, but I think it's probably fine to take him there. But yeah, how many Falcons do you actually have, Billy? Is that like 6, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Falcons on your team. It's not something I'm going to do often, but it's okay. No, I think it's a pretty strong team. Are you Ty Felton over Jalen Naylor? I think I've swayed back to the Naylor side of that duo. Anybody else have a team to look at? Ten spot Overcat. Okay. Let's look at Fat Bobby. Fat with the PH. It's a 3-6-8-3. Justin Herbert, Ashton Genty, Brian Robinson, Nico Collins, JSN, Tetaroa McMillan, Elijah Arroyo, Jalen Waddle, Travis Hunter, Jordan Mason, Trey Harris, Zach Charbonnet, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Jalen McMillan, Rico Dowdle, Jarquez Hunter, JT Sanders, Keandre Lambert-Smith, and Tyler Conklin. All right, that's interesting. So let's see. So you've got Herbert with Trey Harris and KLS and Tyler Conklin. That's fun. Trevor Lawrence with Travis Hunter. And that's it, right, for Jacksonville? Yeah, I think so. And then you had one more quarterback. Who am I missing? Herbert, T-Law, and Bryce Young with Rico Dowdle, JT Sanders, Tetaroa McMillan. I like it. Yeah, that's a strong squad. You go Genty in the first round, and then you wait until Brian Robinson in the 8th, 9th, whatever. Strong at receiver. Oh, Elijah Arroyo is your first tight end. So then you go 3 with Arroyo, Conklin, and Sanders. Okay. Yeah, I like that. It's a reasonable tight end room, I think. All very late. But good. Glad you got 3. Yeah, I like the team. All right. Oh man, why are we back on Naylor? I'm still a little on Felton. I think Naylor, so part of my reason for being out on Naylor is looking at his yards per route run numbers last year were pretty bad. And then they drafted Ty Felton. But yeah, I think the coach speak has generally been positive for Naylor. And I think he was good enough. I think like when you look at yards per route run, the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, but he's the wide receiver 3 playing behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson's there. It's like you're just not going to expect a big yards per route run number from a wide receiver 3 there. And I think he's still, he scored 6 touchdowns last year. Like I think there's a strong possibility that he holds on to that role. Now, Felton also was a 3rd round pick, so it's kind of a toss up between those two, to be honest. But I kind of go back and forth on those two. Yeah. All right. That's it for this draft. I'm gonna send out the promo here because I have not played the ad yet. But before I play the ad for the draft one get one promo, let me remind you one more time. Would appreciate it if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little notification bell if you want to get alerts when I go live. Not sure, I might be going live later tonight with the Wolfpack crew with Chicago Cubs All-Star Justin Steele, Fantasy Guru Drew, and Debro. Unclear if I'm going to be able to do that tonight, but I'll be back for sure on Monday with Mathology. Not sure if I'll stream this weekend. We'll see, but a lot of streams coming at least every Monday, Wednesday, and then other times TBD. All right. Thanks, guys. I will wait. I gotta find it. I'll catch you later. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share